There is a simple inevitability about the fact that once humans decide to ride horses, we will always end up at some point falling off them. So if you're choosing to be a horse rider, then coming to the fact and coming to the conclusion of you'll at some point end up on the ground. You'll not be there of your own choosing, and often at times when you least expect it. Often as riders we come to different stages of acceptance of this simple fact that we will inevitably hit the ground, we will inevitably fall off, we will inevitably hurt ourselves. But we come to terms with that on different degrees. But this is where horse riding can be very different, because it's often not only dealing with our own emotions around falls, it's dealing with the emotions of others around us. So we might ride in isolation, but those of around us, our friends, family, colleagues, often have opinions that we may value, we might not value, but they often want to thrust that opinion on us. Sometimes we'll ask for it, sometimes it'll be an intrusive interrogation of what they feel is needed in this situation. So is it fair? Have I given it consideration? And did I just want to brush it aside because the emotional reaction was too strong to the words that were said? It doesn't matter if you're being as safe as you possibly can, or how much fun and enjoyment you've been having from your riding, or importantly, sometimes how many times you've repeated the process and you've done it without any incidents and without any falls and without any hiccups. None of those matters when a friend or a colleague or a family member steps up onto their soapbox and decides to unload their emotional baggage onto what's sometimes already a fairly vulnerable place for us all to be sometimes after a fall. So the important question to ask yourself is, whose emotional storm is this anyway? Is it actually my storm or their storm? Who's carrying the burden of this question? Dealing with our own emotions around falls is one thing, and accepting that, and you probably accept it by going back and getting on your horse, but those around us don't always have that same sense of acceptance, that same sense of the risk that you're taking, that same sense of, are you doing what's best for what they consider you, and by reflection, them? Asking ourselves, what is the purpose of this feedback? And are they just unloading their own personal baggage and emotions? Sometimes it feels when you're getting feedback that it's going out to committee, that you're being piled upon. People that don't understand the joy that you get from horses, the feelings of connection, the feelings of freedom, everything that is a purpose that gives you meaningfulness in your life comes from that horse. And yet here they are, sitting in judgment, waiting to pounce on everything that you don't do well. Every dinner conversation feels like a whole family ganging up on you, all your colleagues, all your family, everyone in a circle, just there to give you their feedback, their criticism, their baggage of why it's not a good thing to be having horses, to be associated with horses, why you're unsafe, why you can't cope with the situation, all the things that just aren't in their world, basically. So then it really does come down to, are these things even in your control? Are you able to improve them? Is there any way that you can take this feedback on board? So not all feedback is harmful, not all feedback is bad, not all feedback is meant in disrespectful, not all feedback should be a burden to you. However, to just dismiss all feedback means that we don't look at it from other people's perspective. However, we've got to make sure we don't take on other people's burdens. So making sure we understand where the emotional storms are coming from, where the feedback is coming from. Is it coming from their perceived risk versus reward? And that can be often very different to what horse riders perceive as their risk reward. But we also have to remember, sometimes we lose perspective of our own risk and reward. As they say, if you boil a frog slowly, you don't even realize how hot the water's gotten. So we've got to be careful in ourselves. Are we taking on more risk than we realize? Have we got ourselves into a situation and environment that has actually become unsafe? This shouldn't take away from our sense of enjoyment. This shouldn't take away from what we want to do with our life and how we want to enjoy our horses. But we always must take a step towards staying safe within the confines of our risk-reward strategy. This is sometimes a moving feast, but we have to be aware of it. We have to understand how we perceive our risk, how we tolerate our risk, and also how we renew and understand safety and making sure we're not being blasé, we're being courageous, and still living the life that we want to live. Horses are a big part of our life. The joy that they give us, the excitement they give us, the bond they give us. So don't let someone take it away from us, but make sure that we're still aware of the risks around us, the inherent risks around us, the complacency that can fall into place, and also the understanding of making sure we're not only safe for ourselves, we're safe for our horse, but also sometimes we're reassuring to those around us of what we understand we're doing and what we're going about doing and how that's bringing joy and excitement and basic pleasure to our lives. While the concerns of others should often be acknowledged, and it is a good, healthy relationship to be able to speak openly about other people's fears and anxieties as well as our own, but don't let those fears of others and their anxieties put a blocker and a dampener on what you're looking to do with your riding. Understand that they may be coming from a place of concern, maybe coming from a place of love, but also there's two parts to that. Your place of love, your place of joy, your place of feeling fulfilled and connected to your world. So talk openly, discuss often, don't let little things fester, little situations that are manifesting and blowing themselves out of proportion sometimes. So when a person that is near you and loves you doesn't feel that they feel unheard, but also bring them in so they can understand more. And at the end of the day, if they can't, it's your life to take the risk that you're taking. Surround yourself with people that want to do the same sort of thing. Surround yourself with people that are knowledgeable and understand the risks you're taking. And so if they are saying to you, this seems a little bit too much, then make sure you do look closely at what you are doing. However, it is your life to live. Make sure you and your horse are safe. Don't misunderstand a love for a horse, a love for an animal, to making sure that you are both safe in this situation. When you both can tick off those boxes, go out, keep enjoying life, keep making sure you learn and grow, and best of luck to you. Take care. See you on the next video. And don't forget to like and subscribe.